Low stats, no DPS hero. I'm pushing the limits on what I can get away with, going in at wave 13 on the summit and coming out with a dragon. Nightmare hardcore survival. You know it, you love it. The dragon pet, the best pet. We're looking at farming up a bunch of these bad boys here, but if your stats aren't that great, I'm going to show you what you can do with low stats. It's a very efficient build, and only 4 builders required, just your 4 core builders. No need for a DPS Huntress or a Boost Monk, say, if you don't have them already or they're not working out for you. Here's what I've got. 1600 power, 700 range, 800 defense rate on my Builder Apprentice. He will be our active hero. We're going to boost a stack of DSTs with him. Now, our Trap Huntress is sitting at 876 fortify, 939 power, range and rate, inconsequential. We don't care about those. And for our Aura Monk, 722 for fortified, 990 for power, 784 for range, and defense rate doesn't really matter as much. If you don't know that about these heroes, check out my hero build guide. If you don't know about which stats matter for which heroes, check that out. I'll leave a card in the corner there. And finally, 1694 for fortify on my Waller Squire. Now, 2 things. One, you can do this with lower stats if you start from an earlier wave, because then you'll have more build mana accrued to upgrade things. And also, if you had a Boost Monk, if you had a DPS Huntress, you could also do this with lower stats. You'd have more utility. You'd have a better boost on that DST stack. We're not going to count on that. We're going to go in with our 4 builders, and we're going to come out with a dragon. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it right now.
Okay, voiceover time. Before we get into the build, one thing to consider is that yes, it'll work from wave 14, but I'm assuming that's going to get patched out soon, so this run's going to show it from wave 13. Also, you can take this build to wave 25. In fact, that's what I used to get to wave 25 with a couple slight modifications that I'll talk about later. For now, I'm going to start with some spike blockades up here near the top 2 crystals. These are going to come in handy. They're kind of pivotal to the build because if your stats are this low, we're going to need those walls to defend against some ogres. Hopping up to this ballista here, going to drop a bouncer blockade here. Now this bouncer is going to solo all of the flyers coming down through that lane. The bouncer is the real MVP of this build in my opinion. Going down with the spike blockade on this lane here, and we're going to flip over for an explosive trap on that pillar down there, and a strength drain aura right here. 2 level ups on the wall, 2 on the strength drain, 1 on the explosive trap. Going to do it. Got to keep that mana, save it for the middle of the wave. So going over here, we're going to drop another spike blockade in the middle of these 2 stairwells, and then we're going to do an explosive trap on the bottom step for me with this range, followed by an ensnare aura right behind that, and a strength drain closer to the wall. I really only care about the strength drain covering the wall, so that's why it's moved back a little bit. 2 levels on the strength drain, 2 on the wall, 1 on the explosive trap. Going to head over to the last lane. Now you'll notice a slight difference between this lane here and the far lane across from it that kind of mirrors it. That's because we needed to do something asymmetric to keep up with the DU and make this build work. Spike wall going down here along with an explosive trap, and we're going to drop an ensnare and the strength drain on this pillar, and then leave them all at level 1. Don't need to spend any mana on them. They'll make it through just fine. Finally, going to drop a bouncer blockade on this side to mimic the one on the other side. Going to take care of all the flyers in that lane. Now we're going to set up the bottom. No surprise, right next to the gargoyle, basically going to wall off this little section right up at the top of the stairs. Going to wall that off, and then 1 level up each on those walls, followed by an explosive trap right in the middle, as close to spawn as you can get it, generally speaking, right in the middle of the stairs, followed by an ensnare aura and a strength drain. 1 level up on the strength drain, 2 levels up on the strength drain, 2 levels on the strength drain, 1 on the explosive trap there. And then we're going to go back up to the top. This is our little kill pad. This is the circle of death, if you will. We're going to lay down some DSTs on this circle. I use the little white circle to put them on, and then the lines on the outer circle to line them up. Finally, I'm lining up the edge of the range on the left there with the 3rd torch in the distance, that 3rd green torch. That's how I'm lining these up against the torches on that far wall, and I'm going to do 3 in that direction. These 3 here, and the 3 that are going to be on the other side, mimicking these 3, the other side of the circle. These 6 total DSTs are going to be our primary defenses for taking out those ogre copters that are going to be coming down, flooding this part of the map. And then we'll be setting up for facing the opposite side to help deal with the sharken and whatnot. You may have noticed no gas traps in this whole build. The reason we don't need them is because these DSTs are plenty to take them out. So the DSTs facing the other way, they're not going to cross up like the other ones did. All I'm doing here is I'm covering the spike blockade off on the right, off in the distance there. You can see my aura, my explosive trap, and the spike blockade. I'm just going to make sure this DST covers the spike blockade on its side out there on the map. That way, if ogres get to the spike blockades, these DSTs will do make quick work of them. And of course, all four are going to be covering the middle spike blockade, so won't have to worry about coverage on that one at all. So that completes the build. Going to turn my HUD back on, Alt-H to turn the HUD on and off, and then G up here. Now, I'm not going to boost the towers right away. I think that's important. You want to wait a little bit and then be able to maintain that boost 100% of the time. So I wait until I see the first three come in, and then I boost them. And the boost ability is your C key and then right-click, and turn it off right away to conserve your mana. But now I'm going to try to keep the boost ability up for the entire portion of the wave where ogres are coming out. And that's going to be about the first quarter of the wave or so before the spike, before the copter stopped coming in. Now that snowball came in, did some damage to the DSTs. That's why I kept so much mana, so I can just drop a quick upgrade on those DSTs if they take damage, and that heals them right up. And now I'm still looking to maintain the buff on the towers. And if you see some spiders, just right-click. It'll knock them away and do some damage to them before your DSTs get to shoot them. So the ogre copters coming in now. Still, this is the last round of ogre copters. Those ones that are diagonal, those are the more dangerous ones. You can see me pivoting the camera around to keep an eye out for them. Every once in a while, they'll get close enough to drop a full health ogre, which is exactly why you need those walls. And very rarely, I actually show it in this run because I want to give you the worst case scenario. The copters will make it over and fire a couple rockets off at you. Really easy to deal with. A lot of people are afraid of the copters. They're actually really easy to deal with because they don't do damage to your defenses. Just they try to shoot you, and that's pretty much it. That's really easy to deal with. So we just move. But at this point, you're just going to camp the DST stack. All I do is just camp my DSTs and keep that boost up. That boost adds so much attack speed to these DSTs that it makes them a lot more useful, makes them really good at taking out everything on the map very quickly. And if you maintain the boost for most of the portion of the wave where the ogres are coming out, you're probably going to be running out of mana at that point. That's okay. Just hang out for a little bit and let your mana tick back up, because there's like the middle third of the wave where kobolds start rushing out into the lanes, and you do want to maintain the boost for a good portion of that part of the wave too. Now, you're going to notice that my walls take some damage. That center wall out there, that looks pretty low right now. The walls right behind me at the bottom, also going to be taking some damage. Here's the thing. The walls probably, if your fortify is as low as mine, they're probably going to go down. Does that matter? No, it doesn't if they do their job, which is getting through the wave. You can always replace them in the build phase of the next wave without an issue. So those walls down there, they're probably going to go down. I have captured footage of runs where I hop down in a certain point of the wave and upgrade them real quick to save them, but I didn't want to use one of those runs for this video because I want you to be able to take as little risk as possible to reproduce my results. So, I can roll footage of that, I guess, at some point if you want to see what I would do. There are all kinds of points where you can run out and do things in the wave to maybe save the walls out there in the middle where the 3 lanes are as well. There are parts of the wave where it's safe enough to do that, but why introduce risk where you don't need to? If the defenses last through the wave, especially if your crystal's not taking any damage, what's the point in running out, risking dying for no reason? So that's kind of my philosophy. Now at this point, 400, 500 enemies left. Nothing to sweat here. At this point, it's just a bunch of trash enemies coming out. Easy stuff to deal with. You can see my wall on the right side of the front and the wall on my left side of the front. They're both still up. Sometimes they go down. Sometimes they stay up. Sometimes all of the walls stay up. Sometimes most of them go down. It doesn't really matter. You're going to have plenty of mana to replace the ones that go down. And by the point in the wave that they go down, they'll have done their job by then. So that's where I'm coming from with like pushing my stats down to the lowest possible point to get through the wave. I'm really pushing the limits here. And as long as the traps stay up for the whole wave and do their job long enough into the wave to make sure you finish it, then they've done their job, then you're successful. So that's the end of the wave there. I am going to upgrade the stuff that's super low, like the explosive traps, and then I'm just going to replace the walls that went down. So I do upgrade the explosive traps and the strength drain auras, and then I add an upgrade to the walls that are still up and replace the ones that aren't. And I do 2 upgrades on the walls at the bottom because it'll just give them a little bit more of a fighting chance to stay up. Generally speaking, I do lose those walls down there, and it's not ever an issue. Nothing ever makes it to the top, and that's the nice thing about the walls at the top is if by chance something made it far enough up that whole gauntlet of path, it would just run into that other spike blockade. So you have another layer of protection anyway. But going to upgrade the wall and the explosive trap and the strange drain aura on the right side of the map here in the front. This wall, of course, went down, so I'm going to replace that and then level it up a few times. And then since the strange drain and the explosive trap are so low, I'll level them up each, and that'll help them stay up. And the strength drains, I believe they're more effective the higher their level, so that'll also help with the wall. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Feel free to drop any corrections to anything I say. But I'm going to upgrade the wall here, the strength drain, and I'm just going to I think I just repair that. Yeah, no need to upgrade it. And then I upgrade the explosive trap. Now, I always check the bouncer area for loose mana, because sometimes those wyverns that get killed will drop mana up there. I've seen 500 mana crystals hanging out up there, so it's always worth to check sometimes. Now, I'm going to take a look at my DST stack, make sure everyone's healthy. Any of them that are super low, I'm just going to upgrade the cheap upgrade, and I have plenty of mana. I have like 2,000 mana, and then the rest I'm going to upgrade the rest I'm going to repair, because I want to save the upgrade for a quick repair if it's needed. Just going to repair these walls. And these walls, see, why I like this run so much is because wave 14 is the roughest wave 14 I've had, and I wanted to show it to show you what to do if you get into this case yourself. Now, again, going to start the wave and wait it out. I'm going to wait for the first few copter ogres to come in before I actually boost my towers. Another nice thing about waiting is that the spiders that end up on the stack when I boost and right click, it does damage to them as well. But now the towers are boosted, and I'm panning up and watching the ones coming in diagonally, because those are the ones every once in a while the DSTs, they just kind of ignore it for a while, and they don't shoot them right away. So yep, snot ball coming in. That's why I didn't upgrade them during the build phase. I waited for the combat phase to do the cheap upgrades to heal them up right away. But still keeping my head on a swivel here, looking at the ogre copters coming in diagonally. You can see how close that one got. Dropped the full health ogre, and I'm watching and I'm moving away because I'm waiting for rockets to come from it in case that does happen. So you see rockets come in here, and I just shimmy it. I just shimmy it a little bit. You just dance around a little, and then the DSTs, they take them out. You don't have to worry about these copters. If the rockets come at you, just sidestep them a little bit. They'll hit the ground, won't do any damage to you, no problem. Granted, one of the things I like about this run is because that looked really smooth, but it is just that easy to deal with them if they do get close enough. That's rarely going to happen, but I wanted to show you if it did. I didn't want you to try this and be surprised if it did happen. I wanted to show you what to do if that did happen. I think I ran this like 25 times, and that happened like maybe 2 or 3 times. So yeah, if it does happen, you can just give them a little shimmy, a little shuck and jive, and those rockets, they'll miss you, they'll hit the ground, won't do any damage to you, and then the DSTs will take them out. But now I've got some ogres on these walls up here, gonna pop out, gonna upgrade them to heal them back up quickly. That's why I left them at level 1, and that's why they are so valuable. You can see I've got 3 ogres beating on those walls out there. I'm not worried at all, because they're not gonna get past that wall. That's also why it's down the stairs a little bit, not at the top, because sometimes if it's at the very top of the stairs, they can just kind of walk around it. They don't get the opportunity to walk around it if it's slightly at the bottom of the stairs there, and that also happens to be a sweet spot for the wyverns coming in. If they get close enough, they're going to go right to that wall too. So I'm just going to pop out and repair that wall now. I don't really have enough mana to upgrade it, and I don't really need to. That wall, once the ogres are dead, that wall, it doesn't really serve a purpose after that. In fact, there are some times where I sell those walls after the ogres and drop a flame burst between the gargoyles to help out with the lane at the bottom. You don't need to do that either. In fact, I still like those spike blockades up there to aggro any flyers that make it that close. But at this point in the wave, all the ogres are down. It's just a matter of the kobolds flooding in. They're going to take the walls out, whatever. They're not going to make it to the crystal. The DSTs are going to hold it down. So at this point, it's safe to say we've got ourselves a dragon. And even though my actual gear and my actual character stats are nearly twice this, when I'm actually geared up with my current gear right now, level 90 trans gear and stuff, I still use this build, in fact, a carbon copy of this build essentially, as my sort of lazy, easy dragon farm build, where instead of camping the DST stack on my builder apprentice, I camp it on my boost monk. If you have a boost monk, this build works even better, because the speedy gemstone and the buff on your DSTs, the tower boost, you make such quick work of the copter ogres. They never really make it. Even those top walls, they're kind of a waste at that point. But yeah, I still use this build even with my fully kitted out builders in my level 90 trans gear. So just something to keep in mind for the viability of the build. And here I'm just checking the overlay map to see where there's possibly a spider stuck. Sometimes spiders get stuck up here where the bouncers are, and you can just right click and fling them off the edge pretty much. Really easy to deal with, so no big deal there.
When I run this fully geared, I don't include the 2 spike blockades by the DST stack because I don't need them, and instead I drop a darkness trap right in the middle where I'm standing right now that helps out with the spiders on the DST stack, and I throw a slow aura on the right lane in the front to mimic the one on the left, so they both have a slow and a strength train. But that'll do it for the run. Not a spectacular dragon, no surprise there. You got to do this a bunch to really get that level 140 dragon, the dream dragon. At least most of us do. But that's it there. I'm just showing my stats again, and I think I flip over to I show my collection of dragons at this point. The best one I've gotten so far being this level 94 dragon here. But just gonna rehash my stats again just to show that in fact, yeah, it's the same stats as I had in the intro of the video. But that's the end of it here. Thanks so much for watching, and I do want to take this time to thank everyone who's been supporting the channel. My videos have been doing really well. I really appreciate the positive reception of all my videos. I'm thoroughly enjoying being part of this community, and I look forward to making many, many more videos in the future. But yep, that'll do it for me. Let me know if the build goes well for you. If you have any tweaks or anything that you think would be better, leave them in the comments section. I love tweaking my builds and learning new stuff from everyone else who plays the game. But again, that'll do it for me. Thank you so much for watching.